still says going live. Okay, it's live. Hi, guys. Grabbed popcorn and some Coke, all set for cake talk. You should have grabbed cake.
Very true.
Hello.
Come on, Vidya. You know better. Where's your cake at? Maybe it's early. Is it early there, Vidya? Is it?
Oh, it'll be later. What time is it in India right now? Okay, what time is it here? 9 a.m.?
Yeah, so it's 9 p.m.?
I don't think it's 12 hours. I need to know what time it is. What time is it in India? It's definitely 9 p.m. or maybe a little earlier.
Welcome to Cake Talk, Episode 3.
Welcome to Cake Talk, Episode 3 on Google Hangouts. I still don't get how this all works, but I'm here.
If you can hear us and see us, well, if you can hear and see Yolanda, please leave a comment in the Q&A section. Don't put it in the comments of this video. There's a little Q&A app, and that's where you have to ask your questions. But Yolanda, tell us what we're discussing today.
Today we are discussing fondant, my old friend. I want to debunk some of the myths or worries or concerns about fondant. You can ask any fondant questions. Rachel can see us.
Yay!
Hi, Rachel.
And we did, Yolanda, so you know, and I know you've seen them in all your amazing YouTube comments. You've gotten
hear us.
Oh, good. And you've gotten a ton of amazing questions this week.
Okay.
But there's been a lot, I've noticed, of questions and comments on your YouTube, and I know we've talked about this, about fondant, which is why we thought it would be fun to just talk about fondant for a few minutes.
Yes. This is fondant.
Yeah, show us. And please, guys, let us know if you can't see or you can see.
I chose a color so you can see better.
And show the container, yo.
Well, this is what it comes in. I keep icing sugar in this. They're very handy afterward. You can use them for icing sugar, other ingredients, cleaning. Great buckets.
And what brand are you using right now?
Right now I'm pretty sure this is Satin Ice. I never remember after I color it because I keep all my colored fondant in a separate bucket, and I keep my white alone.
Do you have white back here?
Yeah, the big bucket is white.
Okay.
Yeah, so this is
McCall's.
That's McCall's. That's not going to help a lot of you out there because you can only buy that here in Toronto, as far as I know. I actually go to the store called McCall's and buy this one.
So that's the white fondant. So is it open? Can you open it up? So you buy all your fondant white and you color it, correct?
Yes, sometimes I buy colored. When I use a dark color, I buy colored because when you color fondant dark like red or black or royal blue or purple, it takes a lot of food coloring, and you will notice right as you're kneading it, it gets so much softer. Another good tip is if you're going to color your own fondant, don't do it immediately before use. So color it days before and let it rest. It changes color sometimes depending on the brand.
Wait, show them the light. All right, go back. So it just comes in that bag?
Yeah.
Okay.
This is not a full bucket, but it would be full up to the top. Comes white.
How many pounds of fondant is that?
This one is 10 kilos, so like 22 pounds.
How many pounds would you use for like a cake like pancake?
Oh.
How many pounds of fondant?
I don't know.
Do you think like a couple pounds or?
No, I think maybe 4.
4 pounds of fondant.
For the size that it was. And you always want to have a bit extra whenever you color, because if you run out during trying to get that specific color again, it's one thing if you're using white, you'll probably always have extra, but if you're using a color, then you want to make a little bit extra. And it's okay when it's something like pancake because it's a light color. So even if I have like a ½ pound left, I always know I can change that color into another color.
Mm-hmm.
Like if I have some of that pancake color left, I can color it yellow or orange or red or anything in that hue later on. What's hard is when you color a dark color.
Even that yellow you probably can't change to many other colors.
I could change this to orange. I could change it to red, but it would still have a really yellow undertone. I could change it to a shade of green that has a yellow undertone. The other thing I can do is if I ever need light yellow, instead of using food coloring, I would just use a piece of this to color my white fondant. And I like that because sometimes I do that on purpose, in fact. If I want a light color, I start off by just coloring this much and then adding it in.
So let's start with the basics, and we won't spend the whole episode on fondant because I know a lot of you guys have great questions. But a lot of people are saying I heard fondant tastes disgusting. So we want to tell sort of the truth about fondant and why you use it. Why do you use fondant, Yolanda?
Okay, so I think disgusting is harsh. Fondant is extremely sweet. I will be honest and say I'm not the biggest fan of fondant and its flavor because it is extremely sweet. So you're never going to find me saying, oh, it's delicious. No, it has too sweet of a taste to say it's delicious. It's kind of like if you eat a dish that's too spicy. I love spicy food, but I've had dishes where it's so spicy, my tongue is like burnt and all I taste is heat. Or if you have something that's way too salty, it wipes out the flavor of the food and you just taste salt. Fondant is definitely sweet. It's not a little bit sweet, it is sweet.
So that's sort of the dark side of fondant, but the beautiful thing, because you use it a lot, so why do you use it?
I use it because there's no other medium like fondant. I think people keep asking that question because they're hoping I'm going to say, well, this is the fondant that's less sweet. There's no fondant that's less sweet. The other options for covering cakes are modeling chocolate and marzipan. Both are extremely sweet. The downside of modeling chocolate and marzipan is they're both not white. They both start off cream colored, like white chocolate. Therefore, you'll never be able to color it as well as you color white fondant. Because white fondant starts from white, so when you add color to it, you get the truer color of the food coloring.
And fondant's the closest thing to a Play-Doh, for lack of a better word, like a molding,
Yeah. And so is modeling. I mean, the great thing about modeling chocolate is you can alter its consistency. So if you want it to be harder, you would add more chocolate than corn syrup. And a lot of people who make like figures on cakes choose modeling chocolate for that reason. It also doesn't develop a skin the way that fondant does.
Right.
So with fondant, once you start working with it, you need to work with it. You can't roll it out, walk away, because it will start to form what's called an elephant skin. And sometimes, too, if you're not as sure of yourself with rolling out fondant, if you take too long of a time, by the time you pick up the fondant to put it on your cake, you will find it already has a skin and it starts to crack.
So it's quite particular, which I mean, I don't know if everyone realizes what an art form it is to work with fondant. We all know it's not the best tasting thing, but it's the only thing you can use to create the novelty cakes you make.
Yes.
And it takes years to perfect the craft. Like, you really perfected the craft of using it.
Oh yeah, and it takes practice. I think a lot of one of the number one questions I get is, you know, how do I cover a cake with fondant, or how do I roll fondant, or how come your fondant is so straight? My fondant is so straight because I've been rolling fondant for 15 years, and my first cake was not that straight, and that's just the truth. Practice makes perfect. I truly believe that in anything, not just fondant. Even it matters how well you ice your cake before you put on the fondant. I think people think this is supposed to be like a drape or a cover where they could just, you know, quickly ice the cake and throw this on and then it will correct the cake. That's false.
That's why you ice your cake so meticulously.
Yes, that's why I ice my cake so meticulously. And the other thing about perfecting fondant is when I first started to use fondant, I couldn't roll it as thin as I can now. I wasn't as comfortable touching it. But I roll fondant as thin as possible, 1/8 of an inch, especially when I drape a cake. That's how thin I like to roll it.
And the cool thing is when you roll it that thin, I know when I eat your cakes, if I don't want to taste the fondant, I actually love the taste of fondant in your cakes because your cakes are so amazing and they're not too sweet, so the fondant isn't a sort of an added sweetness.
Yeah.
But you can also just eat around it. It keeps the cake so moist.
Fondant really does protect a cake.
Yeah.
And that's a good thing because when you're making novelty cakes, they don't take 2 hours to make. I know my videos are like 12 minutes, but they took 12 hours.
Yeah.
That's what you don't know.
And that's for a small one.
That's for a small one. And some of the cakes I've worked on, you know, for clients have taken me days. Or some of the cakes on Sugar Stars took me days.
Even for how to cake it, I mean, what I guess they don't see is we sometimes film for a couple days.
Yeah, they don't see that.
And
you see all the good stuff.
Yeah, you see the fun stuff.
So fondant is a great cover because it really protects, you know, you've got the cake is already moist, then you've got your simple syrup, then you've got your luscious just buttercream. And then the fondant seals that in, so when your cake is resting in the fridge, none of that moisture is escaping. That's another amazing thing about fondant. And the other thing I wanted to say about fondant is I'm really particular about the buttercream I use. I love Italian meringue buttercream. I find it smooth. I find it light but creamy. I just think it's perfect. You can check out my recipe. It's on my blog.
We'll put it in the description of this video as well.
Okay. And but some of you who don't have mixers, standing mixers, are probably using American buttercream, which is made of icing sugar, which essentially, in my opinion, is frosting. And so you have to consider the sweetness of that frosting matched, which is equally as sweet as this. And that's why altogether it's super sweet.
Yeah.
And so you have to consider that.
Your buttercream is so beautiful that way because it's not too sweet.
Yeah, it's not too sweet.
It's creamy and just, it's amazing.
It's luscious.
It's luscious.
We should change the name to Luscious. I'm just going to refer to it as Luscious from now on.
I wish we could send your buttercream to everyone
I
watching.
know.
It's so amazing, and you've got to try the recipe.
I think we should imagine we tried to send buttercream to India. Like, I really want to know how it would end up. I'm going to send Vidya. I'm going to send you buttercream, and I'm going to send you snow, and you let me know what you receive.
Can you see if there's any new questions there, Yo? I have a whole bunch here.
Okay. Fondant good for a humid climate? Unfortunately, no.
Now, so read that. Sorry, what does it say?
Is fondant good for a humid climate?
Oh,
and that is from, sorry, I can't read, Shivani.
There we go.
Hi, Shivani. Oh, plug. Okay.
There we go.
So, no, it isn't, unfortunately. But I will, and I don't live in a humid climate. So, wish I did. I don't. So, I have other issues with fondant in the winter. But it does get very humid in the summer here in Canada, in Toronto. And it's a big game changer when it's humid. There's sometimes I have fans on. We actually have trouble on how to cake it because I have to have lights, and they are hot.
Lights, camera, action is not all it's cracked up.
Yeah, lights, camera, action is literal. So the humidity and the heat with fondant, they're not friends. But I will say this, there is a brand of fondant that I've never used because it's actually really expensive for me to buy here. It's called Karma Masa. I will find the link and we'll put it up. And it is made for humid climates.
Oh, cool.
And so everyone, a few other cake decorators I've known have said it's amazing, it's meant for that. They use it in the Caribbean. Actually, I got married in the Caribbean, and the hotel where I got married was going to let me use their kitchen to make my own cake. In the end, I decided not to because I wanted to have fun with my guests and not stress over cake. Yes, I said it. But in the event that I had chosen that, I was going to buy that brand of fondant and use it. But that brand of fondant is like twice the price of my regular fondant, which is already pricey.
We'll have to try it on how to cake it and see.
Yeah, I want to try it. I'm so curious because it's one brand that I've never tried.
What are some of the brands that we talked about it? You use Satin Ice?
Satin Ice, I like Satin Ice's. I always use Satin Ice gum paste. Let me start there. I like their colored fondant, especially red and black. I always try to have that on hand because even if I'm making pink, I can use a bit of the red to make pink. If I'm making gray or I just need little black details like eyes or something like that, it's always great to have.
McCall's you use?
McCall's, that's the fondant that's always been my go-to. I also like the size of the pail it comes in. There's Virgin Ice, which I really like. It comes in colors too. It comes in a smaller batch though, so it's good if you're making one cake or you need a bunch of different colors. Then there's Quick. I tried that brand. I liked the fondant. I liked the quality and the texture. My only little beef with that was it's flavored, and it's flavored according to color. So, for example, it's green fondant is flavored mint. Now, if you're making a chocolate cake, okay, that'll go nice. But if you need green fondant over a banana cake and it's mint and there's a banana, it's just weird.
Yeah. No,
and the yellow fondant is flavored banana. So it's like you kind of have no choice because you're being forced to take the flavor. And the other thing is I would say that the flavor, sorry guys at Quick, but it's very fake. And it has to be. It's fondant. You can't put real bananas into fondant. It would rot, right? So,
but this is why it's good to try different brands and see which ones
always
work
good
well
to try different brands. And sometimes if you're using fondant in a way that you know people won't eat it, like let's say you're making toppers on a cupcake or something like that, then it's fine if you like the consistency and the color. But I tried to avoid flavored fondant. That's just my thing. Some of them are flavored slightly vanilla, and I think they do that to take sort of the sweet edge off.
Mm-hmm.
But I also am not a fan of fake vanilla. I'm very particular about vanilla. I only use one kind. Okay, where are we? Oh, it's 6 p.m. in India.
Ah.
Well, good evening.
Good evening. Welcome
Good evening. Welcome to How to Cake It.
Good evening.
Karma's not available in India, FYI. Yeah. Oh, that's not good. We got
The place it needs to be available.
I would think it needs to be there. I mean, it's actually really expensive here. Like the last time I looked it up, I think it was 95 Canadian dollars
Oh my
for a bucket
gosh.
of fondant, and that's why I've never tried it. I'm really curious, but for me to spend that money when I'm not even living in humidity seems ridiculous. But I'm really curious, and even as a cake decorator, especially if you're selling cakes, it's like all of that is factored into the cost of your cake. So if you're buying fondant that's that expensive,
Your cakes are going to be
your
expensive.
cakes are going to be skyrocketing.
Well,
And ingredients are expensive, and people don't realize that.
oh, okay. I have some good questions here on your Instagram. We put up a post last night. Guys, if you're not following Yolanda on Instagram, Yolanda, what's your handle on Instagram?
It is Yolanda, YOLANDA _ Gampp, GAMPP.
And we'll put that link in the description as well, but make sure you follow us there.
Oh my God,
What?
Leah! Hi, Leah. Oh my God, I just Googled that fondant and saw it for $100 American.
Oh.
Yeah, $600 TTD. What is TTD? Where are you from, Leah?
Tell us.
What is TTD?
I don't know.
TTD? Do you know?
No.
What currency is that?
I don't know. We haven't been there. We need to
We
go.
need to go. I need to use that currency.
Okay, there's some.
Hi, my name is Gracie. Hi, Gracie.
What does
Wow.
Gracie say? Any
She
questions?
just says hi.
So I have a question from one of our super fans, Simone and Giovanna. Hi, Simone.
Hi, Simone and Giovanna.
This is a really good one. Hold on, where is it? Giovanna would like to know if you like chocolate cake with dulce de leche and strawberries, because she'll make one for your birthday.
Yes, I love the sound of that. I actually love dulce de leche. I've never been to Brazil, I'm sorry. But my husband has, and I've been to Argentina, and when I was in Argentina, that was all I ate. Everything I passed with dulce de leche, I ate it.
So that's a good birthday gift. What else is a good birthday gift, Yolanda?
What else is a good birthday gift?
Oh,
Oh, hi! Hi! You know what's a great birthday gift? What I would love? I would love 100,000 subscribers. I would love wrap it up for me, send it here, I'll open it. Cool.
Do you know why it's surreal to even remember that? It's because when we started
I know.
3 months ago, our goal was 5,000 subscribers
know.
by your birthday.
I know, that's why you're Trinidad, she's from Trinidad and
Oh,
Tobago!
of course!
How did I not know that? I'm sorry, I'm half Grenadian, so I'm very happy that you're West Indian, Leah. Hi! And so is Jocelyn. You never see Jocelyn, but you hear her.
I'm from Montserrat.
Montserrat in the house, Grenada in the house,
What?
and now
Small
Trinidad.
islands.
Trinidad and Tobago!
Small islands usually don't get along with Trinidad, but that's okay. Today we'll make an exception.
Trinidad. We love
You're
you.
fine. We love you.
I've actually been to Trinidad, but not like in the airport, because that's all I've seen. So.
Oh, I have another great one from Simone, which may be interesting for people. Is there any forbidden fruit to use in a filling? Is there any fruit you can't use in a filling? Forbidden fruit. That sounds very...
That sounds like the lambada. Whenever I hear forbidden, I think of the lambada. Okay.
Is there any fruit you shouldn't use? So in pancake cake, for instance, you use blueberry jam? Or
I use jam.
you use jam.
I use jam.
Okay.
Yeah. Fruit is tricky, especially if you're making a fondant cake, because I'll tell you a story. Once, I used to work at a bakery a long time ago, and he put fruit in cake all the time, and it was delicious, mainly berries. And another bakery friend of his put some strawberries in a cake that were really, really, really ripe. They were Ontario strawberries, which are amazing. They come in season, and they're... Anyway, what happened was the strawberries actually began to ferment inside the wedding cake, and the wedding cake was already iced and covered in fondant. And so you saw that fondant sort of bubble, and that was not okay.
So that can happen sometimes with any fruit. Is it the heat and the sugar that makes it ferment?
Well, if fruit is alive and it's continuing to ripen, and so you can't control that, right? And then the other issue with fruit is when you get berries and you wash them and you leave them really wet and damp and then put them in your cake,
You can't.
you can't do that. So really what you should be doing is like wiping. Durian should be forbidden. Yeah, I don't think you could put durian in a cake. I'm not suggesting that, Shivani. Don't do it. Good idea. Do you like Sweden? I love Sweden. I've been to Stockholm. I can't even tell you. I have 2 obsessions. One is Japan and one is Scandinavia. I can't wait to go back to Sweden. Everybody I follow on Instagram is like a Swedish designer, no joke. I love Sweden. I love Stockholm.
Wait, we have to go back.
Yes, we have to talk about. We'll do a cake talk, world talk.
But that's basically it. If you wash the fruit, you basically have to dry it.
Or you have to dry it. You either have to wash it or you have to wipe it. Like with for example, if I use strawberries, I get a damp, clean cloth and I just wipe them because if you add all that water and you put that in your cake, that's going to water down whatever your filling is. The fruit is going to ripen. It's just not a good idea. Now, if it's not a cake covered in fondant and it's a cake you're going to eat that day, there's a bit more you can use. You know, if you just have like a nice sponge cake with maybe some lemon curd and then you do berries and kiwi and peaches and whipped cream, that's okay because it's open and you're going to eat it. But berries are the safest fruit to use. I wouldn't use things like kiwi.
Things that are really wet, like mango.
Mango, kiwi, like things that are really wet.
So the drier the fruit, the better.
Actually, we're planning to do a cake with fruit.
Yes, we are.
We can address all of this stuff, but usually I prefer to leave it open.
This is another question from someone I know the answer to because I've had it, is can I freeze cookie dough? Hell yeah.
Oh, yes. You can freeze. Cookie dough is one of my favorite things. We should do a cake talk on cookie dough. Or we should do a video with cookies. I have a good idea. Santa is involved. But cookie dough is one of my favorite things. In fact, when I was pregnant near the end of my pregnancy, I stopped working, and what I did was I made a whole bunch of different cookie doughs, weighed them and rolled them into balls, and then froze them in dozens. Because I knew when I had my baby, everyone was going to come over and see us. And what I did is I would just take the dough, thaw it, put it on a sheet, bake 12 cookies, and everyone was like, what an amazing mother you are.
How did you have time?
I did make cookies for you.
And that's a good trick is, so you freeze them, but you have to thaw it before you bake them.
Yeah, you can bake from frozen, but it might bake unevenly because it's so cold and you're putting it so hot, so it might sort of spread weird, and they wouldn't look nice, but they would taste good. But thawing them is nothing. Just unwrap them, leave them room temperature, and when you can sort of press your finger into them, bake it. So cookie dough is one of the best things to manipulate because you can actually freeze it for a long time. I like to portion it before I freeze it. That's a lot easier. And it's one of those things like you could just have. So I used to always have it stored up. I don't anymore because I have no time. But I used to always have that stored. And I would always have buttercream stored, and I would always have a few small cakes. Because sometimes when I make batter for a cake, you know, I'll pour it in my pans, and then according to my recipe, I'll have a pound left or 1.5 pounds left. So I'll bake a little 6-inch or 5-inch cake, wrap those nice and freeze them. And then when I have somebody come over at the last minute, or I'm going to somebody's house at the last minute, I take out some cake, I take out some buttercream, I cut it, I make a little cake, I go to the store, I buy like Aero or Kit Kat or whatever chocolate bar I like, I cover it, if it's fruit, whatever I do. And then I always have something to bring to people or have something to offer people because when you're a cake decorator, they expect it. I feel like when I go somewhere and I don't bring anything, people are like, oh, Yolanda's here. And they're like looking at my hands.
So back to buttercream quickly. Someone asked that you always make your buttercream fresh?
No. I like to.
No, but you always make your own.
I always make my own. Yeah. I never use, no, I always make my own. And buttercream, again, it's one of the only freedoms I have because, especially Italian meringue buttercream and Swiss meringue, in fact, I make a big batch. I have a huge mixer that you guys never see on How to GK. I make a big batch. It makes me 2 buckets of buttercream, and I can, if I'm making a cake, that's usually the first thing I make because I can keep it in my fridge before I color my fondant and actually bake my cake and get to that stage. And it also freezes amazing. So I always try to have a batch made and frozen just in case I need some. I've had it in my freezer for a month, and it's still spectacular.
That's amazing. I have a few other questions here. We're down to about 4 minutes left.
4 minutes!
So these are going to be really quick answers, fast ones. What's the biggest cake you've made?
Oh, you know what I think it would be? the book cake I made on Sugar Stars is one of my favorite cakes because it was actually 12 different cakes, each shaped as a book, and then stacked on top of each other.
And I think there's a picture of that on your Instagram and your Facebook.
Yeah.
So we'll put those, again, we'll put those Facebook and Instagram links below so you guys can see it if you haven't already.
Oh, I'm new here. I don't know what Cake Talk is.
Oh.
Her name is Sigrid. I hope I'm saying her name right. I think this is the Swedish girl. I think that's her second question, but I can't read because it's scrolling down.
Do you want to? Here we go.
Okay. Sweden, and that, oh my gosh, it's 3:20 p.m. in Sweden. Do I ever make my own fondant? And that is from Sarah in Sweden. No, I don't. And the reason is, I have made it. The reason is I use way too much, and it would just be another time-consuming thing to do. So I make my own buttercream, I bake my own cakes, I make all the other fillings, I color my own fondant.
But you don't make your own fondant.
I don't make my own fondant because it would just be, and the other thing is fondant, like bread, is actually really hard on your mixer because it's tough. It's tough going around. So if I were to do that all the time in my mixer would have broke a long time ago.
You need to have like 10 different mixers a year.
Yeah, you need to, and you need to go really easy on it, and so I choose not to. And where I'm sorry, but where I live, fondant is really readily available, so it's not an issue for me.
And speaking of time, I have another question, and these are from Kristen El Salvador, by the way, on Instagram. What is the longest time you've spent making one cake?
Wow, back to the book cake. That was the longest time. That was 6 days.
And that's like how many hours a day?
Oh, like 10?
Oh, man.
Yeah, that was really hard because I was copying. They actually brought me each book. So I was copying each book. Exactly. So every single book was a different color font, a different color letters and design. Fonts. I had to hand cut all of the fonts. So I had to make a template for every single book in order to make all the letters. And then the top book, I also had to make its cover. And it was...
Definitely check out the pictures, guys, on Facebook and Instagram.
We'll make sure it's there. We can put it up again.
Last question from Kristen El Salvador. I know the answer to this, I think. What is the weirdest sweet table you've made?
Oh!
I know.
The weirdest sweet table I've made and cake was the Corners table. That was a Sugar Stars episode. It was for a Crime Writers Award, so authors who wrote, like, scary books. And it was awesome. We set up a sweet table to look like a Corners office. I made a cake that looked like 2 cakes. I made one to look like a human heart. It was like an enlarged human heart. And we actually set it on a real medical scale that a coroner uses to weigh your organs.
Ugh. If you guys want to see Yolanda make the heart cake, leave a comment in the description of this video, or leave a comment on our YouTube, Instagram. I would love to see you make that cake.
I get a lot of requests for the heart cake. And it's so weird because I'm used to making things that are sort of on the pretty side or really graphic or almost animated. And the heart was just, I couldn't believe people ate it. Oh. I knew it was cake. And I watched them, and I actually, do you remember on Sugar Stars, when they ate it, the camera cut to me, and I was like this. And then they had to tell me, like, Yolanda, smile, because I couldn't get, people were ripping off the valves and eating it. Yeah. And even my own head, even though I had made it, I couldn't believe that people were eating it. And the other cake I made on that sweet table was the Dead Man's Feet, who I named John Dough, D-O-U-G-H.
Get it?
So I did his feet, and he had like really gross, jagged yellow nails, and he had maggots coming out of his foot.
I remember it was so gross and so amazing.
Yeah, so those are actually 2 of my favorite cakes because it was totally out of the box for me, and I'd never had to do anything like that. And the best part was that the writers, the authors at this event, went crazy for it. Like, they were the ones who were like ripping off a toe and eating. Like, they were so into it because it was just right up their alley.
Ugh, weird.
Yeah.
Any other questions?
Yeah, there's one. There's actually a good question here. I need to scroll down to see. How do I scroll again? I'm back. Okay, hi. Oh, it's Vidya. What do you think of marshmallow fondant?
Yeah.
You know, the homemade one. This is what I think of it. I'm sorry. I mean, it's. I've made it once. I wasn't a fan, and the reason it's easy is because you don't need some of the harder ingredients to find in fondant, like gum trag or gum arabic. You don't need that to make marshmallow fondant. However, marshmallow fondant is a lot like marshmallows. It dries up fast. So marshmallows, you know, when they're in the bag, they're amazing and they're soft and they're smushy. If you leave that bag open, they start to feel dry on the outside, and the fondant has the exact same properties. So
not your favorite.
Not my favorite.
And if you guys are wondering about why Yolanda puts fondant in her fridge.
No. Jocelyn, did you set up? Jocelyn set this up. I have a question.
What is it?
From Yu Ling Zing. Where are you from, Yu Ling? Please tell me. What's my opinion on unicorns? No, that's you. You set up an account as Yu Ling Zing, and you said, "What's my opinion of unicorns?"
I love unicorns. I love unicorns. Not well. Please share your opinion on unicorns, and don't break my heart in the process, Yolanda.
I mean, unicorns are cute. They're cute. They're fly. They have like this amazing rainbow horn. They're like horses, but like a bit prettier.
We really should cake a unicorn.
Oh.
For my sake, at least.
We'll do that near Jocelyn's birthday. How about that?
But wait, before we go, the fridge question. If you guys have questions about why Yolanda puts fondant in the fridge, go to Cake Talk episode 2. We'll put it in the description. You talk all about that. Is that when we did it, Yolanda?
Yes.
Yeah.
With you. Yeah. Because the first one I was alone.
Yeah. So please go to that Cake Talk because she talks all about that. What's there? What's there?
I have seen that episode. It was an amazing one, and that's from Tanishqua. I don't want to say your name wrong. Where are you from? Where are you from? Please let me know.
What's the question?
That she has seen that episode and it was amazing.
Oh.
I think she's talking about the heart.
Crime writers.
Yeah.
Crime writers.
When is my birthday? My birthday is July 21st.
Not even a week
less
left.
than a week. I know.
And how many subscribers are we at right now, Yo?
We are at, I believe we're at 85 something, and I really want to get to 100 by my birthday. I can't even believe I'm saying that because all we wanted was 5. All we wanted was 5,000. And now we're just like, let's make it 100,000. Why not? I mean, how many times more is that?
20.
20 times more. Good. I'm glad we're aiming high.
Aim high, guys.
Aim high.
That's one last question on Instagram is what advice would you give to everyone out there that wants to be like you? What is the biggest piece of advice?
Well, my biggest piece of advice is if you're going to do anything, please be passionate about it.
Yes.
Because cake decorating from the outside looks really fun, and it is. It's fun. But there's a lot of hard work. I think it's misleading in the sense that it doesn't seem like there would be hard work involved, and it is hard work. There's a lot of standing. There's a lot of time taken, and you need patience to do this. Please have patience. And the other thing is there's other things involved that you don't see on how to cake it, like transporting cakes. That's a whole other story, and it's not fun. So there's a lot of things involved, a lot of time involved.
It's a lot of practice. Knowing Yolanda, I've seen you and how much you've been doing this for over 15 years.
Yeah.
Like you said, this didn't happen overnight.
No.
And you spend hours in here.
I spend hours in here, and the other thing is that I am a self-taught cake decorator, so that should tell you how much practice I've had, because I worked at a bakery where I just iced cakes, and I became really good at it and really fast at it, and I sort of got bored. I'm the type of person who likes a challenge, and so I wanted to work with fondant, and they didn't work with fondant, and back then there was no cake television, so there was hardly any place for me to even learn that, and the age I was, I couldn't really afford courses, so I just thought I'm going to buy some and use it, and that's what I did, and I just kept, every time it was my friend's birthday or my cousin's birthday or my mom's birthday, I'd be like, I'm going to make this, I'm going to try to make this, I'm going to try to make that. And now you guys have so much available to you. YouTube.
How to cake it.
How to cake it. There's how to cake it. I mean, you can watch Yolanda on how to cake it.
She's great.
You can watch Cake Talk, and Yolanda will tell you what to do. You can watch Sugar Stars in some parts of the world. You can still watch Sugar Stars. I can't even watch Sugar Stars here.
No, we can't.
I love when people are like, the episode last night was blah blah blah, and I'm like, oh my god, Sugar Stars was filmed in 2012, and so That's what, 3 years ago.
Yeah.
So some of you are still watching it now, and maybe it's even the first time you've seen it wherever you are in the world. If you can watch Sugar Stars currently, can you let us know and let me know where you're from? Because sometimes I'm so shocked. Like, sometimes somebody will tweet me from Bangladesh, and I'm like, wow! And then we all text each other, like, it's playing in Bangladesh. So it's really amazing. New Zealand! Hi, New Zealand! What do I think about New Zealand? Courtney Watkins, New Zealand. I haven't been. I want to go down under. I can't even tell you. Do they refer to New Zealand as down under? Please tell me, Courtney. That's how little I know.
It's near down under.
Actually, you know why I want to go to New Zealand? Many reasons, because it looks beautiful, but also one of my favorite white wines is from New Zealand, Kim Crawford. I have to go meet Kim. Kim is actually a man.
Oh, there we go. There we go. And on that note,
wine. How did we end up at wine?
We always do. Yeah. Not
No, it's too early for wine.
Yes, it's too early for wine here.
Let's be serious.
We should wrap this up.
Okay.
Now, the next Cake Talk, Yolanda, where can they find that? Let's see. 2 weeks from today.
2 weeks from today, which is
Let's see.
August. Who will bake my cake?
July 30th.
That's not 2 weeks. Oh, it's
Correct.
July 30th. Oh,
Yeah,
okay.
so 2 weeks from today will be Cake Talk episode 4, July 30th. There will be a link in the description of this video, right?
Yes.
Where people can click and sign up for the next live hangout.
Yes. And what will the topic? Maybe you guys should suggest what you want the topic to be.
Yes.
Who will bake my cake? Asks Shivani. What cake? Oh, my birthday cake?
Well, stay tuned for Tuesday.
Stay tuned.
So your birthday How to Cake It episode is this coming Tuesday.
Yes, July 21st.
Which is your actual birthday.
Could I do a customer-related cake talk?
Customer related.
Do you mean discussing what it's like to work with customers?
Let us know, and we'll do it next.
It's still on. Sugar Stars is still on in India at 6:30 and 9 p.m.
Oh, cool.
Thank you, Vidya.
Thank you.
Yeah. What made me start making cakes? From Samantha Spellman. I went to cooking school to be a chef, but I preferred baking. I used to bake with my dad a lot, and I worked at a bakery, and then I just became so curious, and I wanted to do more, and I wanted to sculpt, because I always loved crafts and sculpting when I was a little kid, and so I just started doing it, and I loved it.
And you got a job at a bakery, so that's another piece of advice. Probably a good place to learn.
Probably now bakeries use fondant, but both bakeries that I worked at didn't, or only the owner could use it. But it is a great place to learn about baking, about filling a cake, about icing a cake, because those are important steps to know before you even get to this.
True. Okay, we gotta go.
Okay, we have to go. We have to go.
So
oh, there's so many questions.
You gotta come back in 2 weeks.
Okay, come back in 2 weeks, July 30th, Cake Talk episode 4. It sounds like Star Wars. We should totally make an opening. Can we do that?
Or we'll just go, okay, guys.
Goodbye.
I think we actually have to press stop broadcast.
Yeah, we do. I think we do.
Okay, go for it.
Okay.